Server restart in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Server Restart In. It's a World of Warcraft podcast where three opinionated players like to discuss their thoughts. Their thoughts. Well, isn't that what it's called when an idea you have just kind of just comes out? Yeah, we just discuss our thoughts and stuff about the game. I'm Jim, and I'm joined by Kristen. I got that right that time, and Brian.
Oh, that's nice.
Hi.
And this week we're gonna, I guess, do a follow-up on Shadowlands and kind of what we've been doing and what our thoughts are, and then maybe some conspiracy talk towards the end. So, yay, Shadowlands.
So,
Cat's excited.
Yeah. We got 3 more renown this week.
I know.
Hooray.
Yay. I got a second soul. Well, we all got second soul bind, so that's kind of cool. It's very frustrating because it feels like, and I think we've mentioned this before, but
You say second soulbind, but it's just another soulbind, right?
well, sure, we get 3 of them, so we get our second one. So we only get 3.
But yeah, so that was the first time I realized that was a thing. And then
When you got the quest for it?
I switched to it thinking that it was just no. I got the second soulbind. I unlocked it, right?
Right.
But I thought it was like side by side.
Oh, that you got them both at the same time?
Switch to it.
Oh, yeah, no.
The soulbinds are basically like old school talent trees now. You're going to have 3 of them, switch between them, and you can change the paths and all that kind of stuff. The conduits are gimmicky or whatever, but they do kind of lock you in. But
They're very gimmicky.
So, yeah, I don't mind the conduit so much. I just mind the fact that it's not really alt-spec friendly. It doesn't seem really alt-spec friendly. I'm lucky in the fact that at least, so Balance uses my first soulbind and Resto uses my second one. And I guess I could use my third one as a tank, but...
See, the way I see it, though, is that even if you are using the same soulbind, like between for Death Knight's tank and DPS, you're gonna have your finesse. What are the 3 things? Finesse,
endurance, and potency.
Mm-hmm. So you're gonna go down one route for DPS, and then the other one for tank, and you can just move them around because you can change the beams, which path it's actually going down without anything, which is, I didn't realize you could do. I thought you had to reset it, but
Well, but it still takes one of the charges, doesn't it? If you
No, only when you put a conduit in. Once you have your conduit set up, you can pick which path it goes down in the soulbind by clicking on the beams. So you got the starting point and you've got the different paths. If you click on a different path than the active one, it'll switch to that path.
I think when you put a new conduit in, it should not take a charge. I think the charges should only be taken away when you're switching conduits. It's ridiculous. Because then you start setting up because you unlock them all at the same levels, renown levels, all the different levels, right, of your
the
tree.
Rows?
Yeah, the different rows. Yeah, oh my God. So having to set up 3 of them and then say you don't fill in a couple of rows because you're waiting for that perfect conduit or something, and then all of a sudden you've used up 6 of your charges.
But when you get the conduit and you put it into your thing, you automatically get a charge. So if you get a new conduit and you're like, oh, I need this one, and you're going to go put it in, when you learn the conduit and puts it in, it automatically gives you a charge.
When you learn the conduit?
When you get a conduit as an item and go to your soulbind thing and put the conduit in, not into the slot, but actually learn it as like the essences. You learn the essence. That gives you a charge back.
So you could kind of game the system and that you could go through and change one of them first, and then put that one in, like learn it, and then get another one and get the charge back?
Yeah, if you're at
You just
full,
wanted to hold on to your-
if you're at full charges, and you know that you're going to swap something out, swap it out first, spend the charge, and then learn the new conduit and just
Right.
put it in your bank, and then you get it back. But I mean, if you don't need to change conduits that often, you're going to get a new chargeback every day.
I'm about to say that's probably like what, a month away at the very least.
Yeah, I know.
The way
I've gotten a purple one.
Yeah, I have a one purple
It's
one
a
too.
tank
I
one.
have a bunch of them.
Yeah,
but,
mine
like,
was a tank one too. I only have one. It's a tank one.
I have at least one DPS, I know for sure, for arms. And but again, the next tier down doesn't open up until 9, right?
Right, so we got a while before that anyway. So
What do we get to next week? What does it go up
we only
to?
go up to, we're rank 6, so rank 9.
Well,
yeah,
if we're
so
doing
next
3 a
week.
week.
If we're
yeah,
doing 3 a
9.
week, then it'll be 9. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, right now there's not a lot, and usually I think, I don't know, I don't think it's as bad as people were. It's definitely better than having to pay to get it changed, and having like an increasing cost like they did for resetting Azerite traits, or for back in the day when you reset your talent trees.
Well, it's kind of nice because you can sit there and go and farm all the conduits that are in World Quest and just keep them in your bank. Not me, because my bag space is limited, but you could do that and then just save them for the times when you know that you're going to be changing out, because they're repeats of ones that you have usually.
If you get a repeat one though, and you already have it, I don't know what happens with that if you can turn that in.
You can turn it in.
Like,
Doesn't it
like
like
apply?
can't you get like an upgraded quality one?
Well,
too?
that there's getting an upgraded one of one you already have, but I don't know if you get the same quality one or a lower quality one if you do anything with it. If you can do anything with it, I haven't come across it. I haven't paid attention to it. I don't mess around with it that much. I've been trying to keep it generic, so that it's all my stuff is like Covenant skill based, as opposed to like specific spec based, except for when it's going down the endurance tree for like tanking and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't messed around with it that much. I haven't really had any issues with it. The storyline is pretty fun for the Necrolords. We went through the whole thing with the gathering everything to basically steal a necropolis. Never got it yet.
Oh yeah,
But-
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
But that was I don't know. I had a hard time finding time to actually get to the point where I could even get to Renown 5 to unlock that stuff. And mainly it was just the anima farming. I just never had time to do that. We did some mythics. We did a mythic last week. I think after we do it after we recorded?
Yeah, I think so.
we did heroics after we recorded last week.
Yeah.
We did 2 heroics.
Monday we did a mythic, and then we did some more the next couple of days or whatever, and
We did 3 the other day.
they were pretty easy.
Yeah, they're not bad at all. I
Really?
mean, yeah.
And-
Not at all. I mean,
I tanked a few of them, and I was maybe 150 something or whatever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad at all.
I didn't get a single piece
Well,
of
you know
gear
what's
that
funny
I wanted.
is that I went back in heroics and in LFR or LFD and blew through them. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like a lot harder whenever we did it that night. So I don't know if they switched something this week or what, but
Well, we were all under geared. I was healing,
No, that's not an issue.
so that made it harder.
yeah, no, I mean, it's,
And
I don't know.
and
It,
we
it felt drastically different. It didn't feel like
well, sure, but you did it in LFD, so in that you get what 15%.
oh, you get that buff.
You
Don't
get a buff, yeah. You get 15%
Yeah.
increased healing and damage, and I think
Oh yeah, because we couldn't queue for it. That's why we ran
yeah.
into it.
Right, yeah.
That's a rip off. It should
Yeah.
be the other way around.
I know, right? Right?
Yeah, so I don't know. The mythics were fine.
Oh yeah, they
None,
went, no
you
problem.
know, the dungeons have been fun. I don't think there's been one that we didn't care for. We did the other side. That was fun from a lore perspective.
I don't like the
when
last
Mazala
boss.
sped it all out at the very end.
Yeah, I don't like the last boss. He's
Oh,
annoying.
by the way, I did this, and I did this. That was me. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, I did all the bad things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, the last boss is fine.
No,
It's just doing a dance.
Annoying.
It's like Crosis fight with a third beam move.
It's annoying when you're trying to do your cooldowns, playing your cooldowns, and your cooldowns are on, like, so I typically, it makes it easier if I use Convoke on the guy, but it means I split up my damage, and so my damage doesn't go so high.
Numbers don't matter.
If it makes you feel
Results
any
do.
better, we wiped on heroic 3 or 4 times before I realized that he punches green at the very
front. You
front
stood
ledge.
in it. Oh,
I didn't realize that was doing damage to me. I thought it was just doing a.
No.
And I
Yeah.
finally
Oh,
realized.
yeah, no,
it,
I've
I
already
felt
gotten
terrible.
into the habit of calling out which way to move for
Yeah.
that fight.
Except for, it would be great if I learned my left and my right.
Yeah, I'm like, move left, and she's going right, and I'm
It
like,
can be
no.
challenging.
She's like, oh shit, I went the wrong way. It's like you
And
had
then
two. You had two
and
choices.
then I did it multiple times.
No.
It was so bad. I didn't die, but it was still. I mean, that's
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That one was pretty fun.
that was yeah.
Halls of Atonement, is that the one?
I like that one. That one's not bad.
Is that the one in Revendreth?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's not bad. The last boss fight's the one with the statues where it throws them
Yeah.
around. Yeah, it was.
I
mean,
still don't know what to do for that one. I just usually like to stand on the end, but I can't because you have to absorb the things, right? You have to
after
stop
he pulls them in and shoots them out, he links to them, and then people have to stand in the beams and block them.
But
so
I
they-
take so much damage. Like,
It's either take damage or have him get buffed out the ass.
yeah, I guess.
You know, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
You know,
It's just annoying to have to move. But,
Yeah. No, I know.
First world problems of balanced druids, I guess. You know, I
yeah.
have to move.
You
It's
know.
terrible. I
Well,
like it when I can just stand there and turret.
See, this is Blizzard balancing balanced or druids in general, right? You have to stand still to do stuff, and
No, I
so
don't.
no.
No, I don't.
There's
I
a lot of movement
I use
fights.
stellar drift. I don't
Sure.
have to stand still. I can
Well,
run.
you're complaining about having to move.
I know, but it's a one boss
So,
fight.
so all the boss fights you have to move in, but druids can mount in them all.
Yeah.
Which
I'm over it.
Which
I-
no,
At this point,
there's
every time I go in the mall, I find a mount when I need to get somewhere.
Yeah.
there are mounts you can
Yeah,
get
there are.
later on. Like if you do a layer 8 in Torghast, I forget which one it was. It'll drop a mount and you can ride it in the mall.
Like anytime you want, or what?
Yes, like an actual mount that you get that you can actually summon in the mall.
Oh.
I hope it has a thing to sell. Because let me tell you, that's been the worst part.
No, that's been the worst part for you because you have like 3 bag slots available. You know, even with getting the enormous bag or whatever the hell it is from.
Oh, I still haven't equipped that.
Because you can't clear your
I can't
bags
clear out
out.
my bags. When day 6 comes and I get dead Blanchy, then I'll be happy because it'll be less stuff. in my
Sindrunner
bag.
Blanchy.
Yeah, dead Blanchy.
Oh,
Yeah, I gotta start that.
Yeah.
So speaking of, Blanchy is just one instance of a soul from Azeroth that we run into. If people listening don't know, in Westfall, pre-Cataclysm, there was a quest
Horse.
giver mob, and there was a horse, Blanchy, pulling a wagon. The horse was tired, and I think you had to go get some oats and feed it and get the energy back up so it could take the lady home, right? After Cataclysm, the Defias Brotherhood became more active in Westfall, and you go out there and you find the wagon overturned, the lady and her husband dead, and the horse dead under the wagon.
Poor Blanchy.
And it's an awesome quest line you have to go through.
Yeah.
Right, and you get like, I think the first quest before pre-Cataclysm gave you like the first, like one of the first cloaks you got. I think it was called like a saddle blanket or something, like Blanchy's saddle blanket or something like that, and it was a
I
cloak.
thought it was like a bag. I thought it was like a bag or something you got.
well, there was
Bag of oats or something. I don't
no,
know.
I read somewhere. Anyway, it's what? Who gives a shit, right? It's forever
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
No, I know, but it's irrelevant. But so
How
then
dare you call me out?
in Revendreth, the horse runs around, and so everybody's trying to figure out what the hell Blanchy did to be sent to Revendreth.
Oh, that's funny.
It's like, that's the place where it's like a last resort. Did she kill the people and then commit suicide? Who knows?
What if Invincible
Maybe she was just a very
was
prideful horse because she knew she could, get her people around.
Maybe she wasn't even old. Maybe she was just young and they just called her because she went slow because she's like, fuck this.
Yeah, I don't gotta move. Maybe
Yeah.
she had attitude.
Maybe she was a polymorphed gnome.
I just can't wait because when I get the horse, I'm gonna go on one of my alliance characters and I'm gonna like walk up to Blanchy and get dismounted.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the horse is if you ride that mount out to Westfall and approach the corpse of Blanchy, like her body, the horse freaks out and disappears and you get dismounted. And that's fucking amazing.
I think it's I'm just a little concerned because I've read a lot of comments about how this horse makes a lot of annoying sounds, like a lot of annoying whinnying and stuff like that.
I think they fixed a lot of that.
Did they?
A lot of the mounts were doing that.
Oh, good. Okay.
What were you going to say, Brian?
Where's the corpse at?
It's still in Westfall. I'm not sure where.
Oh, okay, because that quest line, never mind. That quest line's like stuck in purgatory.
Right. But today I was running around, mining ore for get my blacksmithing up, and I'm in Bastion, and I come across Warbrave Oro. Now, I recognized the name. I had to look him up. He is when you start Legion and you pick the high mountain starting
He's the one
thing.
you go through that scenario with?
He takes you to there to introduce you to the thing, and then when you are trying to get the hammer the first time and you go into the cave after Dargul and his people are attacking that village, and then you go into the cave and he kills everybody with the stone spikes.
Mm-hmm.
He kills Warbrave Oro, and like you get locked in the hand and he disappears.
Oh, that's right.
That's the quest that starts the Undermountain or whatever the hell it's called. I forget the name of the dungeon, but it's like the one that leads up to going down into there to get the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
So he kills everybody by shooting spikes through him. So now he's in Bastion, and he talks, and he's like, I don't want to lose all my memories. I want to remember my wife and my kid and all that stuff. It was interesting. He's like, I want to be at peace, but I don't want to forget that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, that's pretty fucking cool. It's just like...
Yeah, what's funny is that makes a good point, because I've heard, the Taliesin, their YouTube video they put out every week.
The weekly reset.
On there they said it. On the instance, I think they said it. But how dark Bastion is in terms of, wiping memories, and then... the slavery portion.
Well,
all these key things.
Okay,
that are very
slavery. The slavery thing with the little guys, the stewards, would be a lot worse if they didn't create them for a purpose.
Right. Yeah.
They were.
No, it's funny.
Yes.
It's the same. It's the same thing. Everybody's recognizing the cringeworthy stuff.
I don't know. I don't think it's cringeworthy. I mean, if you build a bunch of robot assistants...
I don't have a good word for it. I didn't necessarily mean it was cringeworthy.
No, I know.
To me, I'm just saying, it's funny that everybody recognized that same thing. Or those same things, rather.
I don't know. I don't think that there's necessarily a moral dilemma with it. Some things transcend, our morality in the game kind of thing, because it is the afterlife. So letting...
You say that, but then there's such stupid similarities to reality that they could have easily wrote something over, like rain. I saw rain at one point. Why is it rain? And I don't know. I mean, vegetation in general.
It's not that it's not reality in and of itself. It is a realm of reality. It's just a reality that is transcendent from ours, right?
Well, I mean, wouldn't they have stuff like that in there to kind of make people feel more comfortable, right? So if you were to go someplace new, you would feel more comfortable in an atmosphere where you recognize things, right?
Maldraxxus does not make anybody feel comfortable.
Oh, I hate Maldraxxus so much.
There are
but
flesh warts on the ground that you can skin.
But it's stuff that they recognize the construct of the area. There's ground, there's sky, there's weather. There, you know what I mean? There's quest givers and people,
There's
things
gravity,
that you are
which
used
I guess,
to.
I don't know.
So I mean,
I understand. Like at a certain point, like yes,
Right.
it's just this is what it is. And they can do whatever they want to restore you at the end of the day. But it's just funny how I don't know. It's just funny how like we can kind of write off some things and then other things that are blatantly obvious. And I lack good examples, so I can't bear a good argument for this. But I've noticed it quite a bit myself, and it's just enough to make me like, oh, I kind of wish it was a little bit more mysterious and not like, just another. It's kind of like Ardenweald. Ardenweald is so close to like the Druid-esque zones that they create that it makes it feel weird to me. But I guess the point that I kind of missed there is that, well, potentially there is druidic types of people all across the universe that
that is true.
have been templated off of possibly this one place. Because it's funny because I saw an argument about, I'm kind of tethering off and I'm sorry, but saw an argument about the Emerald Dream. Somebody was trying to make about the Emerald Dream and then Ardenweald, but the Emerald Dream was the backup copy of Azeroth based on.
It wasn't.
We talked about this. What was
it?
Her
Wasn't.
name?
It wasn't Eonar. It was the one that it was Freya. Freya created the Emerald Dream as a blueprint for Azeroth, right?
Yep. So
it was.
But
like,
all that was. But all that could have been. It all could have been influenced completely by Ardenweald as the central point, right?
Sure, because the Titans.
Or are we seeing like Shadowlands as if you think of the cosmology chart, you have the Emerald Dream is layered onto it somewhere, I recall. But I don't remember which.
It was opposite of the Shadowlands, but it's also not a construct of the cosmos itself, which the Shadowlands aren't either. And hear me out. They're not, because there's all these talks of the first ones, right? The thing that gets us out of the maw is an obelisk or a portal way created by the first ones. The first ones are the ones that set everything up. The brokers talk about them. The Eternal Ones, which are the faction leaders, the Primus, the Winter Queen, Sire Denathrius, and all that stuff. They're Eternal Ones. Eternal Ones were put in charge of the Shadowlands by the first ones, maybe, or it was created and then like they don't necessarily know the first ones, or just know of them.
So, what is the Arbiter? Could she be a first one?
Is it a she?
They refer it's her voice.
It's her,
they call it her voice.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but
I was really hoping it was just a robot, a sorting robot.
And then another
A sorting
question.
hat.
Another question is the jailer an Eternal One? Do we know?
The jailer is kin
Was
to the he's an Eternal One.
okay.
Because they talk about locking him away.
Right. Well,
Right. But the gist I got is that he was a brother to them of sorts, right? He was on their level, but he either did something or that was his designation and he didn't want it, so they locked him in there because they all were probably assigned their roles, and he probably was like, why am I stuck in the toilet?
I got this shit roll.
And he's like, I don't want to be in there. And they're like, well, nope, you're locked down there. Yeah. And so he's been.
That would be interesting. I would be very interested if they did something. I mean, they kind of already did that with Helya, but I would be kind of interested in if they did it and
Helya.
they right. Poor Helya.
Can we just pivot for
Yes,
1 second and then just
poor
give a little
Helya.
appreciation to the bitch?
Right?
Us pivot?
Just
Yeah, she took an
couldn't
axe
get
to
her
the
day.
eye.
Poor
Huh?
Helya.
She took an axe to the eye.
Oh my god. Okay, can we
Talk about how
branch
stupid
one
Thrall
more
is.
time to Thrall? Like,
Yeah.
why?
Oh, big
Why are they
squid.
taking these characters down these
Oh my
stupid
God.
paths?
Thrall, pick a goddamn weapon.
I don't
Please.
like a crossbow.
That is
Oh.
blatantly the dumbest thought out quest of any of them.
Like,
Like
I'm
whoever
like-
created that quest should have been fired
Yeah.
simply because, like,
Maybe they were.
Any
Maybe
weapon
that was
will
that.
do.
Maybe that's the developer that quit.
Any
He was forced to make that quest, and he said the game just isn't what it used to be. Which they've had those kind of quests in there before, just not with somebody that's like supposed to have been like a major faction leader.
it's just like, come on, dude.
Yeah, right.
It's like it's one of the most tedious quests to get through.
No.
You know, and it's just so absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Helia too. Helia, she was the one that what?
She didn't like. I don't think
She was
liked
calling out what's his face, right?
Odin.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't remember the names. I remember the situation, but then and so that's why he wound up enslaving her
Mm-hmm.
and damning her permanently, right? So then she turns out to be this second whatever raid boss that we just, you know, in a partial patch get rid of.
Right.
And then furthermore, I don't know. It's just,
Well, her problem is that she opposed Odin, and he said, "Nah, you're gonna do what I say. You serve me. You're stuck down there. Deal with it." And he was an
Yeah.
asshole. He was an
Yeah.
asshole about it, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
He's also the dick that traded his eye to the
Muzala?
jailer.
Oh,
Or
he
no,
traded to
Muzala,
Muzala,
yeah.
yeah. Which I don't know. We don't even know what he sees in the Shadowlands, right? Odin went fucking crazy for a while, didn't he? Like, isn't there some part in the lore where like he kind of lost his fucking mind? Like everything. I thought that there was something with him where he just was. And I don't think I'm confusing it with Loken being tricked by Sarah, which was really just a tentacle to kill Thorum and all that stuff, right? Or Thorum was tricked and they killed.
that's the part I
we
don't
killed
remember,
Loken
yeah.
in Halls of Lightning. We freed Thorum in Ulduar from the grasp. I don't know. I thought Odin, because we never ran into Odin during Lich King, but he was talked about, and he like went crazy and like banished them to Azeroth or something like that, right? Like there was a whole story in Lich King about Odin and about something with that. So he's not in his right mind to begin with, and maybe part of it was because he was seeing into the Shadowlands and it was driving him insane. Maybe it was Old One corruption. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's the same thing as kind of like Sylvanas. Like after realizing that, you know, she's kind of stuck where she was. The race couldn't do anything further, and in the end, it's literally serving some subset of people in the Shadowlands. That's the end.
Right. It's like during life you are basically following the whim of the Titans in a sense. And I mean, maybe not directly, but you know, they did a lot on Azeroth, and then afterwards you're dealing with the Eternal Ones, which are another pantheon basically. I mean, they're not as removed as the Titans were from mortals, right? We never directly interacted with any Titan until Legion. The end, Legion, because even then, it wasn't until the very end when we were doing the Burning Throne and we fought Agrimar, right? We saved Eonar, but we didn't deal with her directly because she was hiding and we were helping her, but we weren't like really talking to her. She was there and talking to us. But we dealt with their essences on the Coven fight when they summoned the different ones. But the only one we directly fought was Agrimar, and then Argus, of course. Those are the only Titans that we've dealt with. And now, but it seems that people in the Shadowlands were able to more easily, or at least had some sort of visual on the Eternal Ones. People saw the Winter Queen around. She did things. You know, maybe you didn't get a chance to talk to her, but you saw her. You saw your benefactor, your leader. With, you know, there was the Primus who ruled over the 5 houses in Maldraxxus, Sire Denathrius. he seemed like he would definitely be somebody to walk around and strut his shit in front of everybody because he was a pompous asshole. Or he still is. And what's the one in Bastion called?
Archon?
The Archon, right? They're present in their worlds. They're not these mysterious things that we kind of only heard about through demigods. Because basically the Titan Keepers are demigods and the Titans are the gods. As far as we're concerned. You know, granted there is probably higher powers, which these first ones seem like they're going to be, right? They created the Shadowlands and set that machinery in work. To what end? I don't know. I mean, what's the whole point of souls living coming to the Maw when they or not the Maw, but the Shadowlands when they die to be repurposed into something? Are mortals basically just cattle to go out, do whatever they do, live their lives, generate a certain amount of ammo they are in their life, if they are going to in their life, because obviously more powerful souls have more anima, hence Garrosh, right? Being their battery, at least as far as we can tell, because I haven't seen hide nor hair of him in the game. I haven't done much in Revendreth, but there's nothing there unless we run into him. Something similar to where we did the Naga Queen. What's her name?
Ashara?
Ashara, yeah.
Wait,
know
what?
in Battle for N'Zoth, Ashara
sorry.
is tied up, right?
I missed that part.
I was trying to figure out who that was. So maybe in the first raid we'll find Garrosh and he'll be chained up, kind of thing. We free him, and maybe that'll
Battle for N'Zoth.
Well,
Shit happens.
Sorry.
yeah, I misspoke.
It's just funny. You're like,
I'm
Battle
sorry.
for N'Zoth. And I was sitting there and I'm like, wait, I was thinking the fight.
Are we gonna just focus on that?
Maybe.
Yes.
Yes,
we are.
okay.
Maybe.
But yeah, so I mean, maybe we'll run into him. That'll open up some story stuff with that. But as far as what is the purpose of the Shadowlands, what do they do with the anima? Is it just? It doesn't just go back into the worlds of the Shadowlands.
It powers those. It powers the servants to float or something.
It does go back into the world because I'm
It's like-
using anima to rebuild groves, and I'm rebuilding the Queen's Conservatory with anima infused things.
Before the drought,
Right.
when everything was running normally,
Right.
the anima came from the souls that came into that realm that the Arbiter sent.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the more powerful they were in life, the more anima they have. There was no way that it was so finely tuned that they got the anima and they had nothing left over. They were using the souls and stuff like that for something.
They probably had excess, and that excess had been depleted. I mean,
Sure, but the problem is why did they have excess? Why? What is the point of the Shadowlands? Why are they generating all this anima?
How are they expending it though?
Well, is it going towards? Is this just a machine where everything comes in and there's an output somewhere, right? You wouldn't just make.
Well, that's like
So-
like we spend our anima on constructs.
yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on the zone because our anima
I don't mean individual
Night Bay
zones.
was they were specifically using that anima to nurture the souls in those wild seeds so that that way they could be reborn. So I mean, it was the anima was coming in and the anima was going into those seeds so that the souls could grow and be reborn again.
Well,
so
so
it
that
was
makes
a
sense. And then
cycle.
Maldraxxus is the one that's eternally
Like
it's
at war.
eternally fighting to form the biggest or form the most efficient army for the Shadowlands. So there's always things dying and recycling and forming more. That's the whole point of Maldraxxus. So
There are
now Bastion, that's a different story. Bastion, they're evil. I think they're
maybe they're using that anima. Maybe that's why they're big blue people. Maybe they're using that anima. Maybe the anima is blue
too
there.
much.
Yeah, maybe that anima is what they use to ascend.
Sure, right, and that's why people aren't ascending, because there's a drought of anima. But what's the point of ascension? Then you just live your life there. What happens after that? Do you just
aren't they the ones
Aren't
that
they the ones
aren't
that
they some of the
go
ones
get
that
the
become
bodies?
those afterlife farriers or whatever?
Yeah, they go get the bodies.
the spirit healers?
They do become the spirit healers, yes, but they also.
I don't know. There's more than four.
I would be asking what and maybe I'm missing something, but Revendreth, like, what are the?
I mean, clearly Daenerys was just taking all of that anima and running. Like
there is something else going on. The first ones didn't just create. I can't imagine that it was just like, well, all right, we created these lives. Let's give them something to do when they die. Let's make them live again, only longer.
I don't know. I just assumed it was a cycle, like just like everything. And I mean, in
But not everything,
Revendreth,
not
they're
everything
not
is a cycle, though. It literally is a means of end for a lot.
They're atoning in Revendreth, right? They're it's not a life.
I don't mean just. I mean all of the Shadowlands. I don't mean the 4 zones we're in. I mean the entire thing. There are thousands and
Sure,
thousands.
but we
of
don't
things.
know what any of those are.
Sure, we have absolutely no idea. But it just seems highly suspect that the Shadowlands exist and they just exist.
I mean,
It's
are
funny
you getting
'cause
all
it's-
like existential?
I think it's honestly, I struggle with the same thing. I don't question it because I feel like if I question it too much, I'm kind of getting out of the realm of the game itself. And like, I do that a lot and it pisses me off, but it is what it is. But I think the concept is like, it's really hard to grasp anything similar, right? Because, and if you hit a few NPCs there have already said like something about this is eternity now, right? So if they're there, they're there. That's their job for the rest of whatever it is, time or existence or non-existence or the afterlife, whatever. It stops there. But then some have jobs to help recycle people back into reality and ferry them in and then process them out, and whatever can't become helpful goes to the shitter. And that's it. And if they are helpful, I assume they just,
I mean,
get fed out into the world.
you think about it. Think about like Valhalla, right? What is the purpose of right?
Let me tell you exactly what the purpose of Valhalla is. Right? All the ones that die, they go there and they feast all night and they fight all day. And at the end of time, at Ragnarok, they will rise up to help fight the forces of hell.
Okay.
They are there for a reason. They have a purpose. There is no purpose of the Shadowlands that I can tell.
Well, it's to fight them all.
The Maldraxxus
No,
is
it's not to fight them
any
all. The Maw is
threats.
inescapable.
The Ardenweald is to rebirth souls into
So they can go get more anima and bring it back.
reborn. Like
All Ardenweald is a revolving door where you get somebody in, they bring a bunch of anima in that comes into your cache. You give them a little bit back to rebuild them and send them back out to get more. All that is just you put a little bit in to get a lot out. And so they're
siphoning, skimming. That's what that is.
Is it like
You're scalping.
okay? So what I'm hearing is this is like a pyramid scheme, right? Like they're like the people at the top.
But he has a good point though.
Right,
It really
right.
is like,
But
why the first ones, which we have no idea who they are, created all this stuff. Why go to that extent to create this? And this can be said for any type of belief system. You could put this for any type of religion, right? What is the point of being created and then having an afterlife, right? So I don't know. I think something else is coming after this that's going to be related. We're going to find something out about what the original purpose of it was. Maybe it changed. I don't know.
you want to know my honest opinion about this?
You don't
This
care?
exact topic. No, I do care. I think that they have jumped the gun on lore twice. This is the second time. I think that the end of Legion totally, completely ruined the storyline potential for Sargeras. I think that they could have done so much more with him and the almightiness of that. Which on the other hand, I could see where they were trying to maybe wrap that storyline up after 20-something years in real time, right? And then try to form a better storyline for the rest of WoW's life cycle to milk money from players. But now, like, we're jumping so far deep into more potential, like, mystical lore that it really doesn't leave. If we find out too much, it's not going to leave much to the imagination as to where it can go, right? You're talking about eternity and the afterlife at this point. Like, when you go back and think of anything outside of the Shadowlands, assuming that the Shadowlands is the afterlife and the eternity, and it's not some made-up thing by another entity, and everybody believes it's the afterlife, but it's not actually, right? And it's some funky shit like that. Now, anytime you go back to reality, assuming we can, what's the point? And then again, I guess maybe we won't remember it. I guess that's going to be maybe a thing, right? But if we do, what's the point of reality at that point? As a mortal that has that had the option to jump in and go there, and if they have the option to come back out, well, what would be the point?
If you know what the end's going to be like, why live?
It just, like, in my mind, it just seems so odd for them to jump so... Because you're talking about the first ones. Okay. Well, the first ones weren't a thing that I remember reading about at all prior to maybe the cosmology books or whatever. I don't know. So now you're telling me that there is the exact first ones, or there's just a bunch of people in this universe that assumes that there was some first ones, right? So there's a hard line somewhere. You're trying to tell me there's a hard line somewhere. And we're pretty damn close to it if we're talking about the eternal ones. And the first ones are right here. And we also can interact with something that the first was made. You know what I mean? Like why are we this deep down? Like, we could have been way over there,
right,
and had tons of content to experience.
They jumped right to the end of the book instead of
it's
exploring everything in between.
I don't get the whole idea that, like, oh, the most powerful beings on our planet can't do anything. Oh, but Mawwalker responding to you. Wow, you're the most magical thing in the entire fucking universe.
That is a good point.
Come on.
Why does a mortal
why does it
being-
respond to, like, a few million players?
Okay. Suspension of disbelief. Just for the sake of argument, there's only one Maw Walker, okay?
Bullshit, it's
And
an
that's
MMO.
me.
There's a million people.
That's me. I am the Mawwalker.
There's four. There's like 4 people in the mall right now that are, like, being tortured. And a million people just went through that portal, no big deal.
But but think about that too. Why all of a sudden are we able to interact with it? Is it our close proximity with the heart of Azeroth and being a conduit of sorts for a Titan's power? And because the Winter Queen during the Ysera thing refers to her sister, which could just be not familial, but more just like same level of hierarchy, like the Titan Pantheon. Maybe they're equivalent to the Eternal Ones. And so Eonar via Freya is who gave Eonar's powers to Ysera. So the Ysera is Eonar's pet. And if you follow that line of thinking, that but yeah, so the Titans, but then if they're akin to the Titans, kind of the same level, why weren't they able to affect the thing? So I guess that doesn't really hold water, us being in close proximity to a Titan's powers.
Yeah, you know what sucks too is that, are we actually gonna ever see why? You know what I mean? Like,
Nope.
It's always been that way.
Right.
It's like, you're the chosen champion. Here's an artifact. Oh, thank you. You're the chosen champion. Have the necklace of the earth or the planet or whatever the fuck it is down there. Or have the yoke. Have the necklace yoke. It has magical powers. Oh, you're the chosen champion. Touch my rock. Like,
Wait,
oh,
I'm
God.
sorry. Was that supposed to be the obelisk thing or the portal that you were just the last thing you said?
Whatever.
I'm just trying to figure out what fucking rock you want me to touch.
It's just, I don't know. I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine with the concept of it, right? It's the reason why we're so powerful. It's the reason why we can defeat all the bullshit that, they've planned out and come up with for the last 10, 20 years. But God, dog, at a certain point, man, just why couldn't it have been Little Lion? What's his name? Anduin. Why couldn't it have been Anduin or something?
Who
You know what I mean? To really
could freaking
throw a
channel the
character-
light in the maw?
Well, I mean, if it's Anduin, then you're cutting out a faction, right? Because then the majority of the content is going to come directly through one side, right? And the other side isn't necessarily going to have access to the story. Now, sure, he's got Bane, like, they're best buds now, or whatever. So maybe we'd hear it from that, but, secondhand. I don't know.
You know what I mean, though, right? Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it seems so, like, the way that they place your character in the story like this, you would think that there is some thread, going back through each expansion.
Right.
You know what I mean? Piecing you together. And the only is the fact that we've just become, a higher level.
I mean, I kind
despite squished.
I kind of feel like we started out just being at the right place at the right time. And that's, what started it and what continues. We're just either supremely lucky or supremely unlucky.
I mean, honestly, this story arc probably didn't start until Legion. Because Legion is when we sought the artifact powers and started fighting Titan level things, right? And then we got the heart. And then, so that, because the stabby sword and the shitty Silithus, the butthole of Azeroth, all that stuff. And we were involved in that. Up until that point, they probably didn't really have a coherent plan going forward on how they were going to tie that together. So that's probably when it really gelled.
Well, the problem is, too, like, thinking about, like, we're fighting, like, the big guy. You have to keep going bigger, right? Now that, like, so, we've fought
Titans.
So now we need to go bigger than that. Because otherwise, it's just because we've built up that power each time you get,
I know.
get
Even
higher
here,
and
think
higher
about
and
this.
higher.
And this pisses me off on a daily basis. Remember all of the battles that you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And then a butterfly whoops your ass.
Right.
Show me.
Or a thing of flies.
Yeah, you get
in
mobbed by a
Revendreth whoop your
swarm.
ass.
show me on the doll where the butterfly touched you, bro.
That's
It's
why
like,
you don't like Arden Wield.
It's
That's
like
it.
this is literally Dragon Ball. Do you recall how
Yeah.
Dragon Ball always gradually just fought a more
Yes.
powerful enemy? Oh, well, okay. What's the recipe? All right, well, somebody's invading. They're more powerful than the last person. You got to get better. Okay, here's your season.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
train, fight, kill.
Yep.
Do it again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
no, it's and unfortunately,
And then bring them into the embrace of your family, usually, because that's what they would do.
only if it was Vegeta, Boo. Who else? Beerus, kind of.
Beerus, yes.
They kind of tamed Beerus a
Yeah.
little bit by giving him a fucking cup of ramen.
Yeah.
the
Android
androids.
18.
Yeah. I mean, even like he started with Tien.
Right, and I guess in
Yeah.
Dragon Ball he fought Tien
Yeah.
and Chaozu.
Piccolo's
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah.
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 Well,
So there is
Piccolo
a
is
history.
kind of. He killed Piccolo and Piccolo spit out the egg, which became the current Piccolo.
Right.
Because he killed King Piccolo in Dragon Ball, and he spit out the egg, which became Piccolo that we know, and so he had resentment, but he wasn't necessarily really a villain, per se. I don't know. Well, anyway. Hi, welcome back to Server Restart.
Roshi likes porn.
Welcome back to Server Restart. And we're a Dragon Ball Z podcast.
That of which I have not seen since I think I was in high school 20 years ago.
Oh my god. I cannot say that.
I try to watch it every now and then. I like it. It's good stuff.
I like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, because Goku runs around naked.
He's so funny, and he's a little kid, and he's peeing and all these things, and all you see is like the little stream going.
Oh yeah, he just
so
like
funny.
you just see him just peeing.
It's so funny.
The best part of that show is when Bulma's asleep and he's like looking at her and he's like, "Where's your penis?" And he's like slapping her on the crotch because she's like sleeping in a t-shirt and her underwear because he has no freaking clue. Anyway.
Oh my god! Yeah, move on.
So speaking of another character that you can find in the Maw that has infamy status in the real world, Mancrick's wife.
Oh, that's right.
She's in Maldraxxus.
Yeah, she's not in the Maw. She's in Maldraxxus.
That's the Maw?
You
I
did.
meant Shadowlands. I'm
okay.
sorry.
That's okay.
Yes. She is in Maldraxxus, and she is fighting mobs, and she is like...
Please tell me she's just
She's a badass.
Mancrick's wife. That's her NPC name.
I don't know.
I
don't know if she has that name.
Maybe she has a real name, and then that's her tag, like the guild tag.
But she sits
Mancrick's
there,
wife.
and she when she's killing something, she goes, "The screams aren't as good as Quillbore's, but it'll do." Because they killed her.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's
funny.
Just, it's neat little things like that.
I like that when they put
I
little
do.
things
Yeah,
like that.
I do like that part too. I like the fact that there's even the Blanchy stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I really do like that they're doing that little bit of fan service, and I enjoy it quite a bit.
I
Right.
do too.
So, all right. So let's go ahead and dive into our conspiracy corner real quick.
We already started.
I mean,
Well, no, we were doing supposition.
Oh.
We're gonna hit something. Something. I guess. I saw a quick video, or I saw a video title. I didn't really watch the video because I don't really care for those videos. But it basically indicated that the reason the Arbiter is fucked up is that when we killed Argus, we sent him to the Arbiter, and his soul broke her. Now, you have to have done Mythic Argus to know or follow
red.
the world first stuff, wherever, to see the special Mythic thing. He turns red, a very similar red to the beam or the soul that came down. Now, we talked briefly about this, Brian. You said, what about the other Titans? Well, technically, I don't think they ever died, because when Agramar and the Legion were coming after them, they sent their powers out, right? Eonar never got caught because she went and hid, which is why when we is it Burning Throne? Is it the same raid?
yes.
We go to her zone because they had found her and were helping rescue her. But they're all in the Pantheon when we get there because they captured their bodies or something, and their powers somehow came back enough to the point where they were able to help us on the Argus fight. So I don't think the Titans ever actually died. And even if they had, they were not a corrupted world soul like Argus was. Now, they call it's Argus the World Breaker, or I forget his title, but he is basically the Titan of Death, I think. So I don't know how that plays into it. I don't know if that's really ever going to come into play, but goddamn, is that some food for thought?
That's interesting.
Because what
So
about?
let's
Go ahead.
rewind. Let's rewind just a minute there. What and who was it? The Void that drove Sargeras mad?
So Sargeras found a world soul. They found another world soul, and it was covered by the Void, right? and he couldn't extract the void to save it, so he had to kill it. And I guess that made him very, not depressed.
But he kept finding that issue, though.
Right, because the void sent all their shit out, and they were trying to corrupt worlds. And I don't know, like, he found one that was a world soul, and maybe he killed all the other ones after that. Aggramar tried to stop him, which he fought Aggramar off pretty handily.
Yeah, I do remember like him going through, and they said he went through when he was slicing worlds in half.
Yeah, I know. I think was it Aggramar that pulled out Yasarj from Azeroth, and that created the Well of Eternity, because that created a wound in Azeroth, which is what the Well of Eternity was. And I think that was the point where they realized that they couldn't do it without damaging it, which is why maybe part of the reason the Titan Keepers were there was to lock them away and keep the servants of the void locked up. But
Unmaker.
Yeah. Argus the Unmaker.
Yes,
okay.
Sorry.
But yeah, so Sargeras basically was like, there's no other option. There's no way to combat the void once they've gone out. And so the only path forward is complete annihilation. Just burn everything down and don't leave them anything. The only retreat and raise the fields, right? Salt the earth, raise the fields, REZE. Destroy everything so that it's unusable, so that there's just nothing left but empty desolation. So that
he wanted to restart. He wanted to wipe it and restart.
I don't know how he would restart. They didn't have that powers, did they?
Weren't they the ones that were
the Titans
farming the Titan souls? I don't know.
No, they were Titan souls themselves. They were searching for more nascent Titan souls, which is what Argus was, which is what Azeroth is. It's a shell with a Titan soul inside of it. So they were trying to find more of them, like themselves. Argus and Azeroth are on the same level as the Titans. Titans are world souls born.
So what's gonna happen? This is what's gonna happen. This is how WoW is gonna progress, right? Azeroth is gonna get born, and Azeroth is just gonna, be gone because the Titan inside gets born, and then we have to start over from level 1 on a new planet.
I don't know. See, and that's, I think, something that's been brought up for debate is what happens to the physical planet when the world soul is born. Does it break like an egg? Do they just come out?
What happened when Argus? Well, I mean, that was when Argus
is still there, but Argus is broken apart.
No, the Titan himself.
What about the Titan? The planet's still there.
Right, but was it falling apart because he rose up, or
was it
I don't
falling?
Recall anything like that.
He was already alive. He was already. I'm pretty sure he was already out by the time we got to Argus. We were just making our way to the Pantheon to fight him.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's why the Argus was in ruins.
I think Argus was in ruins because they were destroying the planet to corrupt him. Mm-hmm. Right? Like they were basically infusing it with fell energies to destroy it. Maybe they were. Maybe they weren't. I don't know. What happened with Draenor? Like regular Draenor. It's broken apart. Was there... Because I know that they went there...
It's broken apart. Oh, Outland.
Outland's a real Draenor, not alt Draenor.
Fake-ass Draenor.
Yeah, fake-ass Draenor. Anyway, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of shit out there that we could talk about. Maybe we'll talk about it later. All right, well, that's going to about wrap it up for us tonight then.
Beast. Oh my God. I'm like a parent calling your kid by the wrong name. Like, hey, Battle Beast.
The worst.
I am the worst. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, well, that's going to about wrap it up for us then. Otherwise, we'd be here all night. We went ahead and discussed some of our experiences in, Mythics and some more stuff we found in Shadowlands. Yeah, we talked about Mythics. Well, you got to look at most of the stuff we talked about was just crazy.
Like 1 minute.
Yeah, like 1 minute. 1 minute of mythics. But we talked about, different characters that are kind of showing up in the Shadowlands.
Why Odin's super
Why
shitty.
Odin's such a bastard.
Yeah.
Some conspiracy stuff. I guess you could call it conspiracy stuff, supposition about, did Argus kill the Arbiter? I don't know, just a bunch of like...
Is the Primus the rune carpenter?
Yes, I don't know. But anyway, you can go ahead and check us out on our Facebook page, facebook.com/server restartin. Send us a tweet at server_restart. And catch us next week on Server Restarting. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
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 It's Conspiracy Corner.